In my personal experience with complex regional pain, in my first experience with complex regional pain syndrome, reflex sympathetic dystrophy, I was in a minor car accident, and I had been injured many, many times as an athlete growing up all the way through college, and was actually coaching at Washington State University when this car accident occurred. I was rear-ended. During the accident, I had my body twisted. I saw it was a van coming at my car. I put my hand on the horn and I twisted around with my arm on the passenger seat, and I was watching the van thinking it's gonna stop anytime. It never stopped. It never took its foot off the brake or off the gas, and it hit me. That caused me to jerk. I hit my head. It wasn't really a bad impact to my vehicle. There was only about $500 of vehicle damage, but they found me after the accident, walking around, wandering around, not knowing where I was, saying that I needed to get to practice. They sent me to the hospital. The hospital did x-rays. They told me that I had whiplash and I would be better in 3 or 4 days. That was September 2002. I wasn't better in 3 or 4 days. I started going to chiropractics. I started going to physical therapy. And it finally came to a point about 8 months later where they said, we are not able to help you here. And I had really, really good doctors and physical therapists as the head coach at a university. And they said that they suggested I move to Arizona for better treatment and care. One of the doctors there had diagnosed me with causalgia, which is now I know, at the time I didn't know, is another word for complex regional pain syndrome and reflex sympathetic dystrophy. So all the words kind of got confusing, and I didn't really understand what I was going through. At that point, doctors sent me to more doctors, and I had a shoulder surgery. I had a rib removed where that doctor made a mistake and messed up, leaving a bone spur into my lung, messing up my lung. I had 5 lung collapses. Another one was hooked around, a bone spur was hooked around my brachial plexus nerve bundle, and that caused even more damage. So I started with regional pain, which is complex regional pain syndrome, in my face, in my neck, and in my shoulder, and part of my upper back. And due to these additional traumas that I went through, and I haven't even told you all of the ones that I went through, but it spread. It spread throughout my arm. My arm curled up. I got dystonia. My hand was kind of locked in this position. I was able to use my thumb and pointer finger. And this went on for 3 years. I went from doctor to doctor to doctor, and the doctors I wasn't necessarily searching for more doctors. A doctor, I would have a symptom and he wouldn't know how to deal with it, so he would send me to another doctor. And I ended up seeing 43 providers. Before that, 34th provider actually looked at all of the records in the whole case and said, I think that you have reflex sympathetic dystrophy, and I want to do a test to see if you have it. And I said, I want to go home and study this first because I've been through enough guinea pig situations, and I don't want you to make me worse, because that's what was happening. And by the time I got to that 43rd provider, I was needing a wheelchair. I was bedbound most days. My right foot had curled in, and I was unable to walk more than 5 to 10 feet at a time. So I literally had to use a wheelchair, and my pain levels were 9, 10 every day with chronic vomiting, and just, you couldn't touch me. We had to build special things in my bed to keep the sheets off of me. We couldn't have the ceiling fans on. I became sensitive to light, and it really affected my life, because I went from having my dream job and something I had trained to do since I was 4 years old, and was in the cheerleading world for 26 years, and had that all taken away and was no longer physically active. So it definitely was something that took a while. After I was diagnosed, it still took 4 more years to get me out of that wheelchair and get a treatment option that would be right for me. During that time, I went through 37 37 nerve blocks and 36 radiofrequency ablations, which is the procedure that they do through your neck to help dampen the symptoms and the burning fire pain. It also involves guided x-ray, which involved radiation for me because I'm allergic to the x-ray dye. So I had to turn the machine up higher than normal, and I had patches of hair that were falling out. and I would get sick from that radiation. So it definitely affected me in a more severe case than it affects some of my friends who have it in one extremity or even one hand. And there is ways that you can manage it. And like I have said before, if you can get treatment early and get proper treatment early, then your chances of it being as severe as it is for me won't be so high.